This is Amy Chan from CakeDecoratingSchool.com, and if you like cake decorating, you're in the right place. Welcome to our flower series. In this video, we'll be piping Buttercream mini carnations. It's broken down into steps so you can skip ahead, rewind, and rewatch as desired. First, we're going to make the color for our flowers, and we're going to make a nice soft peachy pink. We're using American style buttercream, but you could easily use Swiss or Italian meringue for this flower. We're using the following liquid gel colors to color our buttercream: neon bright pink, and some sunset orange. And I've just got a little bit out on each lid because I want to make a nice light color. And I'm just going to go more orange than pink. Just a couple little specks of each. I don't want it to be too dark, but I also don't want it to be too light. Give it a mix, see how it looks. If it's a little orange, I'll just add a little more of that pink just to give it a nice, soft, in-between vibe. Give it that real kind of peachy feel. Just a little more pink. This is going to be a beautiful color for our little mini carnations today. It's fantastic. Reminds me of orange sherbet. For this flower, we are using a single 12-inch decorating bag. It's disposable, and we've got it fitted directly with the tip, so we prepared it with our 104 tip, which is what we're going to use to make this flower. Let's review the techniques we're going to use on our mini carnation. We're going to use all 104 tips. So I've just got that there up the top. And to start with, we're going to make ourselves a little mound. And this one, I can't really demo on the tray because I need the spinning action of my flower now. But the basic principle is we're just going to hold the bag straight up and down. I'm going to have my skinny end kind of right there above the center. And I'm just going to spin while I squeeze. And that's going to give me a little kind of almost like triangle cone shaped mound there in the middle, and it's just going to be a little something to build my flower on. So what it looks like, exactly how big it is, not super important. Just getting something there in the middle that has a little bit of a slope, a little bit of a peak, think like a tiny Hershey's Kiss, is all we need to do. On top of that, we're going to create a center spiral petal. And this one, we're just going to hold the bag at 45 degrees and 430, so think pointing towards the back end of my shoulder with the back end of the bag. And I want the opening of the tip pointing straight up. And we're just going to hold there. Think about connecting the fat end of that tip with the top of your little mound you just created and just spin in a circle. And I try to go with one complete revolution and then maybe just give it a little wiggle at the end. Giving ourselves a few little stylish wiggles on these flowers is what's really going to help capture the look of these mini carnations. Around that, we're going to have these kind of little ruffly center petals. So they're going to be a little bit like our soft arcs, but just kind of a little bit different. I think we want to wiggle them up and kind of back and forth a tiny bit. And that's going to give them a little bit of a wave, which is going to be fantastic. Overall motion is just going to be a soft arc. Think about wiggling the top and back and forth a tiny touch. Same position, 430 and 45 degrees, so not too hard. And finally, we have some soft arcs, which is what I can demo on a tray today. But the idea here is we want to make a nice kind of soft arc motion with our tip. And some of them are going to be smooth and some of them we're going to be ruffled, just like the one we just talked about. So for that, just think about an up and down motion as you travel along that arc. So not too hard to do. Same position, 45 and 430. And the only thing we're going to do is change the angle of the opening of the tip. So as we go and we put on rows of petals, we're going to angle that tip out. And that's going to give us the look of a blooming blossom. We've reviewed our techniques, so now let's go over how we're going to put them together to build our blossom. This is all with a 104 tip. So nice, easy, no need to change bags or tips for this one. And we're going to start in the center and pipe that mound. So we're not going to see it underneath our flower. It's going to get totally kind of eclipsed and covered up. But the idea here is we just want to make that nice little petite cone shape. And we're going to do it by holding our bag straight up and down and giving our nail a spin. You should only need to go around one time, maybe 1.5 if the beginning is a little bit unsteady, just to build up a nice cone shape all the way around. Next, we're going to do that little spiral in the center. So think about setting yourself up for success. Put the fat end of the tip right on the point of the mound and the skinny end pointing straight up. We're going to give ourselves one full revolution. At the end, I like to give it a little wave or a wiggle if I can kind of feel that going well. That just adds a little extra style and flair to our flowers. Once we've got that on there, we're going to do 3 of those little ruffled arc petals, and we're going to kind of make them coming out of that center spiral. So I think that gives us something to attach to on top of our mound. And we're just going to ruffle our way down and kind of around and pull 3 of those. They're probably going to overlap some because it's a tight little space. So don't make them too huge. Don't go too crazy with them. Just try and give them a little bit of a wiggle and a little style. The more irregular they look, the better your flowers will look. And you'll notice we kind of have a ruffled look to the middle of the flower, and then as we go out, the petals get smooth, kind of like they're unfolding, and as they have more space, they're going to lay flatter. So once we get those 3 kind of ruffled ones, we're going to once we get 3 of our ruffled center petals that are overlapping, we're going to pipe 3 ruffled soft arc petals kind of in an upright position. So you want to go offset from that first series of 3 petals and do 3 more. And this one, tip straight, pointing straight up, and just go around and do that nice soft arc motion. And that's going to help kind of give us a nice clump of ruffly wild petals there in the middle. Next, we're going to angle that tip out a little bit. So instead of pointing straight up, think like 1 o'clock on our clock. And we're going to pipe 3 petals, and this time we're going to do them smooth. Then we're going to offset ourselves again. We're going to be almost down to the nail, and we're going to angle out maybe more towards like 2 o'clock with the opening of tip, and we're going to pipe 3 more petals. So each of those sets of 3 petals, think about it like you're twisting a little bit of a rotation and you're going in between the ones before. That way, when the flower is open, it looks nice and full, but there's also a sense of airiness and open space there. We've reviewed our techniques and we've gone over how we're going to build our flowers. So now let's pipe one. I've got my 2-inch flower nail ready to go. It's got some parchment attached to it with a little extra buttercream, and I've got my bag ready as well. I'm going to hold it straight up and down, and I'm going to line the skinny end of the opening up right with the center. The fat end is just going to be right there hovering above the surface. That way when I squeeze and let that frosting come out and spin, I'm going to build a nice little cone for myself. And sometimes the first little part you pipe might seem a little hollow. You might need to go over like 1 1/4 revolutions, but you're just looking to build up kind of like a nice little Hershey kiss there that you can put all your petals on. Now let's do our little center spiral. We've got our bag set up, 45 degrees. Back of the bag is towards my shoulders, so think 430. And the skinny end of the opening of the tip is pointing straight up and down. I'm going to plop that fat end right on the peak of my mound, squeeze and spin. And as you get all the way around, just give it a little wriggle just to make it uneven, and then pull down the side. You can see that gives us a little spiral there in the center. It's okay if it leans a little one direction or the other. For our first round of petals, we're going to do those kind of center spirally ones. So I think they're going to really wrap around the cone, start up at the top and pull down a little bit. And you want to wriggle up and down and kind of move out a little bit so they look irregular. So just kind of give each one a little upward jiggle and a little in and out jiggle. Now you can see we've got that kind of center done, that's central spiral, those first 3 ruffled petals that are spiraling around. Now we're going to do our little ruffled arcs. We've got enough area to do them on now. So just start offset. So think in between 2 of those petals, and they don't have to connect together. Now we're going to go in with our smooth arcs. So we're going to angle the opening of the tip out just a little bit, start in between 2 of them, and just pull a nice smooth petal. It's okay to leave a gap between them. We just want them to start kind of opening up for us. Now, the only thing we're going to do is angle the opening of the tip out even more. So think pointing towards 2 o'clock on a clock face, and we're going to go in between those first set of smooth arcs and pipe a second set. So each time we're working down towards the bottom a little more, and you can see we're filling in the overall look of our flower so that when you view it from the top, you get those nice sets of offset petals. It looks nice and ruffled towards the middle, and as you go out, those petals smooth out, and that gives us a lovely little look of those cute little mini carnations you see. They're very popular in bouquets. This is nice alternate look to the traditional regular carnations that we've done that use our Korean tip. This one is just using a regular tip. So if you don't have any of those fun Korean tips, you can always try this carnation. That's all for this lesson on carnations. If you enjoyed it, try checking out our 3D flower series cake on carnations, or if you want another flower to pipe, maybe our basic rose. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like more about the cake decorating materials and equipment we use, or just some inspirational videos about cake decorating itself, you can follow us on Insta or YouTube at Cake Decorating School. If you'd like to know more about yearly membership and what it entails, you can go to www.cakedecoratingschool.com for more information. And if you're interested in these products, you can check the links in the description.